Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca, and today I'm going to be sharing the number one biggest piece of marriage advice that I've learned, that I've implemented, and that I want to share with you guys so that hopefully your marriage becomes a little bit better, especially for the ladies, because this one was a hard pill for me to swallow. So this is going to be kind of controversial. I'm also going to share a clip from Shan Boody on the Roommates podcast where she literally talks about this. And when I stumbled on it, I was like, thank you for speaking the truth and thank you for saying this. So yeah. Without further ado, let's get into it. So before I jump into the advice I would give, let's hear what Shan Boody has to say about this topic.
My number one advice for like a healthy marriage is like developing your shut the fuck up filter. Like there's so many times that I always want to voice my opinion or say how I would do things or give an alternate route. Like I'm just like always, and then if I just be quiet sometimes, and even if something it doesn't please me, you know, sometimes I want to correct right away. But if I just be quiet, one, sometimes it actually pans out even better than I thought it would. Or number two, it's like, let that person have the joy of having their vision come to fruition. Just like you want to assert your vision in this moment, like they also want that same feeling of knowing they did it their way. So like shutting up and like shutting down that voice in my head, which, you know, stopped me from being a good student, where I was always trying to one up the teacher or say how things could be better, but versus like, if I'm trusting you to partner with you, I actually have to trust you. So that I think was my biggest shift.
I don't think she could have said that any better. I don't think I could say that any better. Ladies, the number one piece of advice I would give you to save your marriage, to create peace in your marriage, is just shut up. Shut up. Sometimes your opinions don't need to be heard. And I'm not saying that to belittle women. I'm not saying that to shut anyone down. I'm just saying if you have decided to partner with your man, with your husband, then let him lead. So many women want to just control every situation. I know, because I was one of these women who literally had to voice my opinion about every single decision, every single thing that my husband brought up to me when it didn't need to be said. Something that my counselor told me early on in marriage counseling and premarital counseling was these 3 questions I should be asking myself, and these are the questions. 1, does it need to be said? Okay. 2, does it need to be said by me? Okay. And thirdly, does it need to be said right now? Those concepts were never brought up to me growing up, were never brought up to me when I was a hardcore womanist. It was always my way or the highway. And in marriage, when you're partnering with someone, when you are trying to be in a relationship, there needs to be give and take. There needs to be compromises, because you are 2 separate people that have 2 different ideas of how it's going to go. But women have this idea that every single thing that we come up with is correct. And unfortunately, it's not. She brings up being disagreeable.
A lot of the qualities that we have, but to your point, that aid us in certain areas in life actually prevent us from being successful in others. And so that headstrong, I'm doing things my way, I don't care what anyone else thinks, this is who I am, take it or leave it, really helped to propel or start my career, but it was stopping me from making healthy romantic connections. So I had to acknowledge at one point that I'm like, the common denominator is you. You know, like every Subway sandwich you go to, you get in an argument. Every airplane you're on, every relationship you're in, like, and agreeableness is the number one trait which determines relationship longevity and success, or someone's ability, which we're told nice people finish last, but in truth, nice people stay in the race the longest.
Disagreeableness does not work in relationships. That is what she alluded to. She needed to be more agreeable in order to have a happy, healthy marriage. You can't walk into a marriage, into a relationship, being so disagreeable, because then you will never have peace in the relationship, there will always be turmoil. I remember when I was a hardcore womanist, I would literally disagree with every single person, whether that was in business or my friends or, my family. I was just hard to be around all of the time. It was always my way or the highway, and it was my opinion ranks higher than your opinion. And that is just a bunch of BS. When every single part of your life is in turmoil, you have to look inwards to see, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the common denominator. And for a lot of women, we are the common denominator of why we're unhappy, why we're unsatisfied, why we're always in toxic relationships, why we have all of these problems. It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a big humble pill. You need to swallow the humble pill, ladies, if you want to have a happy, healthy relationship, if you want marriage. Because let me tell you, you being disagreeable is not going to help you in your relationships. It might help you advance in your career, it might help you advance in education, but it's not going to help you in relationships. We have to take personal responsibility and accountability for the actions that we take. We need to look inward at ourselves and kind of reverse engineer why we are this way. Maybe it's trauma from our past. Maybe it's, family dynamics. Maybe it's broken relationships. We need to take a survey of our life, a survey of our past relationships, and maybe dissect what was the problem. Again, the things that you should be asking yourself: does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? And does it need to be said right now? Think about these questions when you're having conversations with people. Not everyone needs your 2 cents. Not everyone. And especially in relationships, especially when you have your man taking the lead. He is going to think out of logic. You are going to think out of your feelings, and feelings are fickle. They are not sustainable for making decisions. And that is one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give to a wife, to someone who wants to be a wife, to any woman out there that is struggling in relationships right now. Just please shut up. All right, guys, I love you. I hope that you got something out of this video. I hope that you start implementing some of these things that I brought up today. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.